Hunchback of Notre Dame.
No, you're right.
Yeah, there's
Romani people.
It's a kids movie, but we also have a lot of the plot is based around murdering people to have someone as my wife. Also, there's a song just titled Hellfire.
And the song is about him being attracted to her, and either she submits to him or dies. Like
it's a kids movie.
It's awful.
I mean, but it set unrealistic standards for my love life. True. I want a man to submit to me or die.
Yes.
Tony?
Tony, you listening? Hey, buddy.
Hello, friends. My name is Jesse Harder, and you're listening to the Sins of the Father podcast.
At least it had a better ending than the actual Hunchback story.
That's fair, because literally everyone dies.
What is this? Hugo Weaving? No, that's not his name. Hugo Weaving.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
So what's that fucking dude?
Elrond. Victor Hugo, yeah.
Yeah.
Victor Hugo.
V
So close.
from V for Vendetta?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
Victor Hugo. Hugo. But yeah.
I mean, props to Hugo Weaving if he's also like a critically acclaimed author and storyteller as well as actor.
That's true.
Like,
he's a phenomenal actor. I mean, like, who can play Elrond, and Red Skull, and like Mr. Anderson, or not Mr. Anderson,
And Megatron.
Agent Smith.
Agent Smith, thank you. And Megatron, yeah, like, Hugo Weaving's insane.
And V for Vendetta.
True, that's true. I always forget he was in that because you never see his face.
He's the titular character.
I know, but you never see his face, so I don't remember
He's the
there.
titular character.
All right, David, you're out of the campaign.
He was referring to the bird.
Second time.
Wow.
This is the second
Why,
time.
Daddy?
This is the second time David has brought up titties.
I know.
Exactly.
David's
the first
got a
time we
fixation.
let it go.
Usually it's me. I don't understand.
Wait, when did I bring up tits before? I'm blacking out on tits.
Do Dragonborn.
The dream?
I did. I did bring up Dragonborn titties.
God, we should probably
And then,
stop.
and then, of course,
No.
I said they have snitties.
Marlo said to they nurse their young.
Snitties.
Oh my god.
Funnier now.
Oh, we've hit the peak.
Okay, guys.
There it is.
We
All
had
right,
a dip.
let's get into
Had a
this
dip out of it,
before it
and
gets
now we're into it.
Hey, welcome back.
God.
So, there's a giant, colossal mechwork soldier currently aiming a hand ballista at Nyx and Yvalia.
Yes.
Rutro.
Rutro, kill me.
With the rush of clanking metal, Oswin rushes forward and grabs Nyx and then dives out of the way of the arrow.
Yvalia, you, out of the corner of your eye, see Oswin come darting up and snatch Nyx up off her feet, carrying her to safety as a large ballista bolt, bigger than you are, slams into the ground where Nyx just was.
Well.
Right.
So, Yvalia is sees this bolt hit. So this thing is 3 feet long. It's like a long ass bolt, like a big arrow.
Yeah.
Am I imagining the great arrows from Dark Souls?
Yeah, but like
Those just
Bigger.
huge things.
bigger.
Like big.
Like larger than Yvalia. Big.
Okay, that's terrifying.
Like a round or like long?
Around.
If you've played Elden Ring and you've seen the giants in that one shoot arrows,
Yes.
that big.
Oh god.
Those kind of great arrows.
The siege
If you
weapon sized
recall,
arrows.
the large, if you recall, these are close, if not identical, to the mechwork guards in the upper district of Haravel in terms of size as well, which
I guess I
stood
didn't
towering above
Grasp how big they
the
are.
crowds.
Good lord.
Yeah, no, these are like mechwork golems, like big, beefy,
Yeah.
chunky boys.
In terms of like how stories, how tall are they?
I don't know how tall a story
It's
is.
10 feet.
Well, that's news to me. I didn't know.
3 stories tall.
They're in between 2 and 3 stories tall.
Okay.
So they big.
Yeah.
They're bigger than a 2-story house.
Yes.
Excellent.
Dang.
I legitimately did not know the unit of measurement for a story.
It's just a good ballpark. It's not exact, but
Yeah. But 10, yes.
it's a very good way of visualizing tall things, though. Tip for all you
Yes,
players out
yes.
there and DMs.
Depending on how familiar you are with buildings.
I've
Joke's
never
on
been
you.
in one, so I don't know anything about it.
I don't know either.
So yes, large ballista bolts sticking out of the ground.
So she's pissed and she's just marching, right? She sees the thing, she sees them run away, and she sees the bolt hit. And then she puts her hand up and snaps her fingers. And you see Cinnamon Bun just bound. And she does the whole like leap, like as Cinnamon Bun's running, like throw herself on top and right herself. Not as cool as Vartash has done it.
The
pretty
poorly
cool.
animated Legolas flipping onto the horse scene.
Yes.
And starts taking it towards the next machine, but taking a side route away from the guard.
As we cut to Vartash,
Yes, hello, hi. How are you?
lurking in a dark alley between broken pieces of long abandoned buildings and rocks.
Yep.
What you doing?
I'm going for a machine.
Okay. So there are 4 of them.
I'm going to the back
There's-
one, I guess.
Yeah, so how it is a very simple. There's straight up the alley you were walking with the whole group. There's 2 right there,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1 on each side.
Okay. So the front one is probably the one that Yvalia's going to?
Yeah, whatever the next closest one is. So yeah,
I don't
I
know.
would say so.
I'll go to the furthest back one. Cool.
You went to the left.
Okay.
Yvalia went to the right.
Awesome.
Splitting the party.
I went left. What do I see with this machine? Like, how does it work? What's the mechanism look like?
Looking for reference, these machines are large enough that these mech workers, it's to scale with them
Yeah.
in terms of size. You see all kinds of interlaced tubings and spikes that are directly embedded in the tree itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then a mechanism that siphons out captures this essence into these large storage units.
Is it like a hydraulic pump kind of thing, siphoning, or is it like something more arcane?
Arcane.
Okay.
It's more arcane. There are slight... It's that mixture of mechanical with magical.
Sure. I guess is there any parts that it look like I might be able to jam something in to break it?
Give me a perception check.
Oh, good. It's not an investigation that I'm bad at.
I'm not going to be that mean yet.
I know. Okay. 16.
Looking this machine over, you make the connection that the most obvious weak point or vulnerability this machine would have is if the point of contact between the storage vats and the siphoning unit that puts the essence into the storage vat, if that was blocked off, would shut down the machine.
Okay.
Because it is a very... like a CO2 cartridge sticking in without that connection between the two
Gotcha.
units, nothing flows.
Okay. Cool. So, does it like separate and then come back together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you watch as these automatons keep interchanging these units as they fill up.
Okay.
There is that click and release of the tubing between the two before they place the new vat in, and then it seals itself onto the vat.
Okay. So there's currently a golem thing then, like, in putting a new one in, basically?
Yes, it has just brought over a vat, an empty one,
Uh-huh.
and is securing it into the base
Okay.
of this machine.
I'm going to try, we'll see how my rolls decide to help me or not, to kind of run and kind of like, I don't know, wall run up the back of this golem, and I'm going to pull an alchemist fire flask that I have from our thing in Rickett's house and try to shove it into the hole where the siphon goes into.
Give me an acrobatics check for your Prince of Persia moment.
Yes.
There you go.
Acrobatia.
Such a good game.
We're good games. 14?
You succeed.
Okay.
You quickly approach this mechanical worker and scale up its back as it is securing this vat, and you deftly pull out one of the flasks of volatile liquid you secured from Rickett's house, and you said you jam it in there?
Yeah, I like jam it in there so that when the siphon goes to secure, it's like piercing into it.
And you jam this flask into the top of the storage vat, and you dive off of this machine. As you're making this distance, you see it finish securing the vat, and there's that click as the compartment on top begins to secure into the vat to begin the process. As it hits the vial and seals, you see there's that spark and ignition as there's a gout of fire that bursts out from this machine, toppling the mechanical worker sitting in front of it as scrap wiring and bits of metal go flying in every direction.
One down.
Cut back to Oswin, Nyx, and sweet baby boy Rickett, who is cowering in fear behind a rock.
I forgot he's cowering behind. Sweet baby boy.
Rickett, what are you doing?
So Yvalia ran down one alleyway, Vartash snuck down another.
Yes.
I think me and Oswin are we currently hiding behind like the giant root thing that I just erupted? I think that's where we're kind of hiding behind.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Seeing as that was the closest thing probably near us, I'm assuming. Kind of seeing Rick and it's
What is Nick saying? Like, you said she was thrashing around. What is Nick saying at the moment, Phil?
I think it's a lot of just, you hear various Sylvan slurs that you've probably heard her tell you, oh yeah, this is a slur, or these are things that you shouldn't say. And she's been told not to usually say them. She doesn't usually say them, but a few of them off the top of my head that I have actually written are things like Dragonor, Filikin, Gabrith, Lork, and Avaltic.
Okay, what does lork mean, though? Please tell me,
I
because
gotta
I
know.
like the word so much.
I gotta know what lork
What's this?
I like the word so much. Please
so
tell me what it
good.
means.
Lork means savage butcher.
Very fitting.
Okay.
Essentially, they're
Yeah.
like words to mean like calling like
You lork.
mortal people essentially cruel.
Ah, okay.
They're like the words that Fae would use essentially to call the mortals cruel people.
As Oswin like grapples her and as she's thrashing about in his arms, he just says,
Nix, you have to calm down. Listen, you're supposed to be protecting these guys, remember? You're going to get them killed if you keep it up like this. You're going to get yourself killed.
I think there's like that moment of like thrashing for a moment and then like kind of hears your voice after calming down and like her eyes like kind of settle. She like sees where Rickett is at in danger, kind of curling up behind a rock. Has no idea where Vartash is at this point and is like seeing Yvalia running off in another direction and then sees like where that giant's, arrow just crashed in where she was and is like kind of taking in what she's done. Okay,
he lets go of you.
that was a whole lot. I'm sorry. I'm just very very passionate about protecting that tree.
I understand, but
It's
you also have to protect
hard to
them.
explain. Yeah,
The others
I'll
ran
help
off.
Rickett. Yeah, we should help Rickett though. He's kind of in danger, and okay, we'll discuss what happened in a second, but we probably should help Rickett.
As Nyx is saying that, using those gestures and moving her hands, you notice something peculiar.
Oh,
The mark on her hand has changed to a soft green color.
similar to the one the guy had? Or
No.
No.
Kind of like Rickett's was glowing blue. Hers is now glowing
I
green.
see.
Also, you hear the large thundering footsteps of this mechwork soldier as you are hiding behind this tree branch. A large chunk of it next to you blows out as another ballista slams into the ground.
Kind of like covers her.
I'm sorry, another ballista bolt slams into the ground.
Fires a bullet.
It did not.
ballista
It's a ballista that shoots
The
ballistas.
truest of siege weaponry.
It's a trebuchet that shoots trebuchets.
Kind of like covers her head for a second to like brace for that impact and is like, okay, I have done a bad.
Does
I did a real bad.
Oswin see Yvalia and Vartash get into work destroying the other two?
Around the time that happens and you're looking to see, you see off to your left, the furthest away vat, there's this bright flash and gout of flame as you see a whole chunk of it explode out.
Oswin, seeing that, turns to Nyx and goes,
They're destroying the machines. We have to keep his attention away from them.
and he is going to take his spear staff. He is going to basically jab it into the thing's foot, like just kind of bang against the metal, probably harmlessly at this point, but he does that and then looks at Nyx like, "Well, run."
Okay. She sees this and like sees where Rickett's at and has like a thought go in her mind for a second and is like takes off mid sprint towards him and then goes, "Fair and feist." And then just immediately like her body kind of shifts and grinds against itself as she just turns into this almost pink like fox deer creature. it is like a combination of like almost a very elegant giant deer with major fox ears, long floor, like that, like tail of a fox, but it's like petals. It is like just entirely like petals and vines, and the entire coat is all pink and like kind of that signature Nyx. It's glittery and pink and pretty. And she just immediately like kind of runs and kind of like just ducks underneath Rickett, knocking him onto her, and just basically carrying him as she's like running him off.
My mom says my bones are not strong for equestrian sports. And like he's like backwards, like with his face like facing out away from where it should be, and he's like just holding on to the middle, the haunches of this beast.
Run, Serpentine! It's harder for it to shoot at you!
Oswin says as he runs behind various objects, trying to taunt the thing, but at the same time trying his best not to get shot by it.
Oswin, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy.
Well, okay. Just gonna put that to time.
As another ballista bolt is sent hurtling through the air towards you, having drawn this machine's attention.
So that's a 12 minus 1.
First roll with new dice, audience. So, the sheer impact of this bolt landing within inches of you, the shockwave knocks you into a wall that you're running past as debris slams against you, and you take 4 bludgeoning damage. But maintain your momentum running away from this machine. Yvalia,
Yes.
you have made your way quickly, riding cinnamon buns around the side to another one of these siphoning machines. You don't see any guards around except for the one mechanical worker loading and unloading vats from it.
And I'm like coming out on an opening from like a street towards it.
Yes.
Yvalia's running towards it. She's got a grip on like 2 spike sort of things that are near the front of Cinnamon Bun, like behind the shoulders, and she wrenches on it, not hard to hurt Cinnamon Bun, but to guide towards a building so they can go directly up this building so she can get on the roof of it.
As you pull back, there's that sensation of falling before you steady yourself as Cinnamon Buns leaps forward, pincers slamming into the rock in front of it, and begins quickly scaling the side of this building and lands on top of it.
When Yvalia, when the leap comes from the side of the building to land on the top of the building, Yvalia lets go. She's still got her, grabbing with her thighs on, so she's still attached, but she whips her lute around and starts playing bluesy sort of tune. And then at the end, instead of letting the last note go, she makes it vibrate with this sort of energy. And as it comes out, the energy starts coming out in waves and starts coalescing into a big ball that starts rolling. And as she does, she gets this ball as close as she can get it to the machine without being in range of the tree. She does not want to hit the tree. And casts Shatter at 2nd level.
As this discordant bubble of energy releases, this massive shockwave just explodes out from this bubble as the entire side of this machine, this burst of violent energy erupts from the spell. The main console of the machine, you see shake and vibrate and begin to break apart, but isn't completely ruined. However, caught in the radius of the spell was the tubing mechanism that siphons the energy from the tree, and all of that is just completely eviscerated and shatters and just breaks into pieces in that form of... I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It is shattered so finely almost that it looks like glittery bits of metal falling out of the air with just the sheer force of the spell.
Figuring it up. Yvalia, upon seeing this tubing break apart and seeing... Because now the machine can't function, right?
To the best of your knowledge, this machine would not function to siphon any energy out of the tree.
Yeah, she doesn't say or do anything. She just looks at it. There was 3 machines or 4?
4 machines.
So we've taken out 3.
I took out 1, I believe. Then
Vartash
is taking out 1?
and
Taking
then
out 2.
This one. Are you taking
Yeah,
out 2 machines?
I don't think she got a machine. She got the worker.
Yeah, you got the guard that was working on it.
Oh, but it stopped it. But does that stop it from production, or is it going on its own?
It's currently not running.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The
So, like, 3 of them
it
are
was
stopped.
yeah, 3 of them are stopped. It was you tore apart the worker, which was in front of the machine, and then before you dealt the strike to the machine itself is when Oswin snatched you up because there was a giant Yvalia-sized ballista bolt aimed at you.
Yeah.
Then I am heading towards the next machine, which I assume is between the one Vartash just took out and the one that I took out. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you guys took out the 2 roughly on opposite sides, and then the last 2 are in the front of it. From where you first approached, were almost side-by-side machines.
Okay, I'm heading towards those 2 then. But still trying to stay away from that guard.
Yeah. That from this
the same with
rooftop
running
you
out.
see rampaging through, scattering bits of broken building as it is chasing and trying to subdue someone.
Here we go.
Taking Rickett for a joyride over here. Rickett's going on a ride to Candyland.
Vartash, I assume you are also going to make your way to a machine.
Yeah, I will head towards that same machine.
Okay.
I can go up to 120 feet, so hopefully, like, because I'm in warhorse form, so I can go 60. So hopefully, like, Rickett, whenever you're close enough, do something. Feel free. You're on my back.
So, Yvalia and Vartash, as both of you are moving towards these center machines, you see this odd, seemingly out of place amalgamation deer-fox creature barreling towards these machines and clutching its back backwards is a familiar flopping blue hat that's almost getting blown off of Rickett's head.
Well, it's pink. I assume it's Nyx.
Do we both?
It's cute and it's
we
pink.
both see this, Vartash and I.
You both see from where you are. It's how I described it. There's that like no man's land style, like it's cleared out around the tree.
Yeah.
So there's no cover, and you just see this larger deer fox creature with Rickett on its back backwards. barreling towards the machines.
He's not built for equestrian sports. She's like doubles her speed trying to get over there.
Oh god.
Oh lord.
I love it.
Oh man.
I think also like Nyx is trying to like zigzag to like hopefully keep Rickett safe while she's trying to go forward as well.
That's fair. So, are we running towards one of these machines?
Yes.
Yes, you are
Okay.
rapidly approaching one of these machines and in imminent danger, you would assume.
Okay.
Being Rickett,
you
would assume in imminent danger.
Yeah. As soon as we get close, I mean, Rickett's always in imminent danger. As soon as we're like getting close, Rickett is going to try to roll off. He's going to try to do it very adroitly and dexterously.
He's seen
What he's gonna do?
He's seen Vartash and
is-
Yvalia do it 100 times.
Yep.
Yes, he's gonna do what his friends does, and roll off the back of this beast. Yeah, he's gonna try to roll off of it and like keep running with the momentum towards the machine.
Acrobatics.
Do I need to roll Dungeon Daddy?
Of course you do, my child.
Of course I.
Rickett doing anything remotely athletic or dexterous requires a roll.
Of course.
Yeah. So is this acrobatics?
Yes, especially when
Okay.
he is not built for equestrian sports.
True. Ooh. Look at you.
It has been rolled in D&D Beyond. You can
Yeah.
check it. It is there. Rickett rolled a natural 20, my dudes.
Our boy's growing up.
20 plus 0. 20.
Yep, 20 plus 0.
Nice.
0 dexterity.
Perfect.
Rickett.
I guess, do I do it? Do I roll off the thing and start running towards the machine?
Yeah, I was trying to think of a funny way to describe it actually working out.
He's built for Nyx equestrian sports.
Nick
Not
Equestrian
quite an
Sports.
equestrian.
So much in Rickett fashion, attempting to be cool, riding backwards on this deer fox. You swing your legs around and leap off of Nyx, and both boots hit the ground, and there's that momentary skid where your vision is very quickly plummeting towards the ground as you just scramble your hardest, arms flailing at your sides to get your balance. Go, like, upright yourself as you keep running.
And like Rickett like comes back up and he's like running and looking around to see if anybody saw himself or saw him. But even if not, he's like, ha ha, yeah, I did it. He takes out his wand, flicks it around, taps his belt buckle, and says, Mewa Armix! And then this spectral blue breastplate comes up from the belt at the back of his waist, comes up over his shoulders, comes down and connects as he casts mage armor on himself. But also he runs over to this machine. Do I need to roll to notice anything that has not already been like observed by one of my teammates?
No.
Okay.
I will say that the information has been pointed out or relayed through
Okay,
shouts and yelling.
Okay. Rickett could also just look at it and like, okay.
Also, yeah, Rickett just goes into his mind palace and deconstructs the entire machine in a split
Blueprint
second.
appear
Yeah.
in midair.
It
Just
blows apart, and I see all the individual parts.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
You saw this thing being
Okay,
built
so-
in your dreams.
He takes one bolt
did.
out of it and the entire thing just disassembles.
You know what? I was gonna try to do a spell thing, but I like that. Can I try to do that? Can I roll to find like the bolt that will take this thing
The
apart?
master bolt? Of course you can.
I love it.
Roll me an investigation check.
This is the
I
best.
don't know whether that's a
Gladly.
nightmare or beauty of engineering.
Oh,
It's wonderful.
Who knows? I'm making it up as I go.
I rolled an 8. However, I do have the MVRP point.
You're also a divination.
You also have
wizard.
port.
Right.
I roll it again. Okay, that's a 14.
Don't forget you have.
I'm
portent.
also a divination wizard, so I will use my last portent ability to give myself a 13 on that roll to make it a 17.
Excellent.
Nice.
So, scouring over this machine in your very cursory glances, Rickett, you notice that although this machine was built by expert craftsmen, whoever has been performing maintenance on this machine is seemingly holding it together with makeshift metal scrap and hope.
And I'm here to shatter.
As you see, part of the plating has rusted away from not being taken care of properly. And inside that hole, you see a number of iron bars, or almost like rebarb, that are just kind of leveraged in there, holding up the gear work inside of this machine. And you reach in and grab this bar, and you rip it out.
Oh no.
And you rip out this iron bar. As you take a couple steps back, there is the creaking and grinding of metal on metal. And through the hole, you see a gout of sparks and flame shoot out as the top of the machine explodes and a large cogwheel goes spiraling through the air and hits the ground and just tumbles off.
Rickett looks at this iron bar that he has in his hand, and then he turns around and looks at whoever is nearest, and suddenly he's animated by one of the turning red animators, and he puts his feet like larger than shoulder width apart, and puts this thing above his head, and just like with a huge bean mouth, just pumps it above his head a couple of times.
Rickett, if you would like to add to your inventory an immovable rod, please do.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Amazing.
That's what was holding this machine
I
together.
love it.
An immovable rod.
Oh my
That's
god.
good.
Nyx, just in your foxy creature form amalgamation that she is, gently leans down and just gives an affectionate rub against your face. And then immediately just pushes and nudges you towards the tree.
There's one final machine. But first,
Who's it gonna be? Oh?
we cut to an extreme close-up of Oswin's face in that very, typical movie when it's someone running really fast and it's real shaky.
Completely
and it's like a
emotionless,
GoPro attached to the person running.
Yes.
Just an emotionless mask.
Yeah, of Oswin's head just bobbing back and forth as he's careening through alleyways as a ballista bolt crashes through the wall next to him.
Oswin's not that fast, so I imagine this thing's chasing after him and stomp after stomp. He's
In Oswin's mind, he's going really fast, but in reality, this is a very slow chase.
Everyone else just turns and sees this, and it's
Who thought full plate was a good idea?
Oswin, give me another dexterity save. As you run through one of the streets and are careening towards another alley to try and cut a corner to block line of sight from this
okay.
guard.
That's a 7. Lucky 7.
Oh no.
Running across the street. Odds or evens?
Let's go with evens.
Oh no.
Oswin, by the way, is this whole time he's running. He's trying his best to keep it aggroed on him, so he's shouting things like,
You're fairly ugly, and I bet you have no friends, and please do not notice my friends behind you.
Hello friends, and welcome back to Sins of the Father. I'm your Dungeon Daddy, Jackson Chandler. Don't forget that we are still on the road to hitting $500 a month on Patreon, which will allow us to give a well-deserved pay raise to all of our editors for making our shows the best they can be. Stay tuned till the end of the episode for a special announcement. Don't forget to support us on iTunes. If you leave us a review, send us a copy of it to misconceptionspod@gmail.com for a free Sins of the Father decal. That's all for now. Let's jump into the next episode of Sins of the Father, Season 2. As Oswin, you cut across this road to duck into the alley, your foot catches on a piece of rubble and you fall down as you hear those two big stomping foot slam down behind you. And there's that moment as you roll over, you see the machine posed right over you. As it raises up the ballista, a large metal cogwheel flies through the air and smashes into this robot. I'm sorry, smashes into this mech work soldier and slams it into the ground, and you see sparks shooting out of it as it left a huge gouge through it.
Yes.
Amazing.
Cue bean face scream.
Oswin makes no sounds, just slowly raises a hand towards the sky with a thumbs up.
As it cuts to just a close-up of Rickett.
Yeah. Oh!
We go from real serious to real comedic real fast.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Welcome to Sins of the Father.
It's our brand.
It's our brand.
My
It's
eyes.
our Russell brand.
It's my special
So the
eyes.
four of you that are around this last machine, what are you doing?
And we've destroyed all of them,
We
right?
have one left.
No,
Or
there's this one
destroyed-
left.
There's the one left.
Yeah.
I'm a creature. I'm a giant box deer thing. I can't really talk to people. It's just like nudging against Rickett there and just like pushing against him and like using her face and then like her like hoof to point at it. And then like kind of hitting it. Being like, I want it down. Destroy it.
So who else is all here?
We're
Is it
all here
like all of
except
us except for
Oswin,
Oswin?
Yes. Oswin is,
Okay.
I'm assuming, making his way to his friends.
Yeah. He gives like the automaton circumspect look to like, you're dead, right? Okay. Before continuing on towards his companions.
You forgot the number one rule of a slasher film. Don't die.
Don't turn your back on the immovable object.
Yeesh.
And so Oswin makes his way over to the rest of the group as the pastel pink deer fox is pantomiming at the machine and hitting it.
I mean, I can also hit it. I am a large beast who can do pretty good damage. I just don't know if that would actually do anything.
Horse kick it. Jump up.
I can horse kick it. Can I just jump up and just smash down on it?
Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, I'll try that.
Just gotta believe.
I don't know, do I need to roll the hit, or do I just...
You hit, just roll damage.
Okay.
Much like that machine that Rickett dismantled, this party's entire, motive is hope. That's how they operate.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, okay. I don't have that in there, so we'll just roll out there. 5 and what are you? Okay, 2 over 7 plus 11. Yeah, 11 bludgeoning damage to it for that first one. It just rears back and
rear back
slam.
and just slam right into this machine. It's not broken, but you have left a pretty decent-sized dent in the side of this thing.
Nick smash.
Is anyone else gonna do anything, or are we just gonna watch the
What
deer
does-
fox?
I wonder what the Nick says, honestly.
I think Vartash and Yvalia should work together to destroy this, so that their friendship is there again. This is just a player thing.
Okay. Yeah, Vartash
think,
will kind of, I guess they're running towards it, so he's just going to kind of skid to a halt and draw the pistol and aim at the mechanism that goes into whatever.
The weak point of the machine.
The weak point of the top there. So he aims at that and takes his
The
shot.
siphoning.
Yeah,
device.
siphon, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yvalia is riding on her steed, her horrible steed,
Her steed.
and leaps. I imagine leaps off of a small building nearby and lands. And then she as she's landing, she's got her lute and she just strums this sort of sick, weird, almost ethereal sound comes out of it. And coming from the ground, you see this purple. It comes up and it does this sort of wave through the ground where it's cresting almost like a dolphin, and then it pops up and this tentacle just slaps right about the same spot that Vartash shot, maybe just beneath it, so that that part crumbles and then the bottom part crumbles and the whole thing sort of just falls.
And so, as in tandem, you both lash out at this machine as there's the showering of sparks and scrap of metal being blown out of it from your two blows. Inner workings of it begin misfiring and breaking as parts of it begin shooting out and splintering as the metal is just grinding against itself and becomes inoperable, and in the wreckage, landing around the party. Vartash, you and Yvalia are standing face to face.
Are you guys alright?
I'm sorry, Yvalia.
She doesn't say anything, but you see her take this breath that looks almost painful. And her face softens, but she doesn't audibly respond. As she gives you a look over, and then responds to Oswin.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Nyx has wandered off and is investigating the tree.
Toward the tree.
Yep.
Yeah, Yvalia hops off of Cinnamon Bun and follows Nyx over to the tree.
So, approaching the tree, Nyx, being familiar with the great Saku tree,
Just, as she gets closer, she slowly, there's that, swift, like, slow change back into her true form, and then reaching out to try and talk to the tree.
You reach out and place your hand on the tree, and you don't hear any words or communication from it. You just feel this emotion emanating off of the tree of pain. As Yvalia, you walk up
Yeah.
with Nyx, and the two of you see that where Nyx's hand is, the bark itself of the tree begins to shift back and move out of the way into what looks like an entrance to go inside of the tree.
I think in the moment she probably isn't noticing this herself. She's more of like concentrated on like what she can do to like help the tree itself, and is like, I don't know if she can communicate directly, like, because she can communicate with plants, but in a way she talked with them, but also I'm not sure if she could just communicate her emotions, and wonder if she can get it to tell her what she can do to help.
Being familiar with the Great Saku Tree, and having learned how to communicate with nature itself, you realize that this tree has lost most of its strength, and what little it has left you feel waning. As it has lost its connection to communicate. So, in an essence, you being up close in this tree's presence can feel it dying.
I feel like she's gonna try a mixture of things to try and help, essentially. While she has her Saku Petal form still activated, and is essentially like having that aura of life-giving magic surrounding her, and is able to communicate better, is going to try to, on one side, use restoring magic to try and hopefully restore part of the tree, hopefully, or at least give it a better fighting chance, and then also using hopefully healing magic to hopefully maybe bolster it and help it speed along, maybe kind of reinvigorate it.
About to baby Groot this tree.
Yes, I'm trying to baby Groot this tree. So essentially, I'm gonna try hopefully like lesser restoration to like hopefully end like particularly like maybe corruption, disease kind of like thing with it, to get that and attempt like cure wounds or something to like help.
As Nyx is doing this, Oswin kind of is from behind, and he holds up his hand to his face, mulling over the words that Yvalia had said about his magic, and this necrotic energy crackles and moves along his hand like a snake. And as he looks to the tree, his fingers curl with the realization that he doesn't really know any magic to help, despite his claims of necromancy being a two-sided coin. His father never taught him anything like that. He just stands silently in the background.
So, Nyx, cast your spells. Your restoration only heals a very small part of this tree. As you can already see on the edges of your restoration, the rot and corruption is slowly moving its way back in.
In like this very quiet voice, in Sylvan, she just states out,
Bendith vos, Miro,
eos mor sepalmiros. And that's essentially a blessing of the ancient sake tree. And she's trying to essentially like keep that energy going as much as she can. And I have a few more spell slots, so I got 2 more I'm willing to use up, and she's gonna use them all up, trying to keep that energy, like sustaining it as long as she can.
As you keep pumping more magic into this tree, and Yvalia being the one closest to Nyx, you see that she is pushing herself, she is straining. You can see the exhaustion of having used more magic than her body is used to, is beginning to push herself too far as she keeps pumping more and more of this restorative magic into the tree.
Yvalia comes up behind her and puts a hand on her shoulder and says quietly to her,
I think we were too late.
But we can't be. I mean, I can heal things, so I've got to be able to help something, right? And she like is keeping her hands there, trying to like keep pushing her energy out. But at this point, like she's used up all of her energy and she can't keeping it. It's just kind of like fizzling.
Yvalia starts humming this soft tune that she doesn't know where it came from, and as like a role-playing choice. I don't know. Stop me if you guys don't think this is a great idea, but I think it's a great idea. Nyx knows this song.
Yes.
This is a song that Yvalia's father used to sing to her and like play for her. And this is not a this is a Fae song. And she hums it, and like she's like kind of like lending her some energy. Like that's her intent. She's like trying to, like, with her music, lend the energy to Nyx to help. Which, whether it's gonna do that or not, but that's the intent.
Are there any like healthy like twigs or anything coming off this?
Not that you can particularly see. The only thing that has changed is while Nyx was attempting to heal the tree, a almost doorway, like entryway into the tree formed next to her and Yvalia. And Nyx and Yvalia, you feel the slightest pull of something within the tree.
I think there's like this like strange moment where Nyx is like attempting to like keep healing, and then like here's this melody that she's used to, and kind of like curiously like looks back at Yvalia for a moment, and is like unsure exactly why Yvalia knows it, but she's like confused, and then feels that hug towards the tree, and then kind of like snaps back and is like, for the first time, kind of realizing the door is there now, and going, maybe we should go inside? I don't remember this being here.
Yeah. It popped up after you started working.
Oh. Well, it's just gonna be, why don't we just go inside?
DM.
Yes, Oswin.
Does Oswin see anything unusual within the threads of fate that are currently being woven around this tree?
In what way specifically are you?
He's kind of watching its energies, I guess, at this point. Since it's effectively tied to lives and whatnot, I get the feeling it's starting to wane, perhaps. Also, looking at how it's affecting Nyx, perhaps.
You see that the tree itself, the many threads it had scattered, have been waning and decreasing as more and more of them became corrupted and fizzled out, disappearing. And you see that it has one strong strand left that you see it is moving down towards Nyx, and you see it split to both Nyx and Yvalia. And as Yvalia is humming that tune, and there's that moment of just would mourning be the right word? Between, like, Nyx and the tree and Yvalia. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the right word to describe
Has Nyx,
the humming.
Has Nyx accepted it?
I don't think she has.
A hope from Nyx,
okay.
and then,
like,
mourning from Yvalia, like...
Yeah.
As the threads of fate connect to them, you also notice in that somber moment, as that soft lullaby song is being hummed, a very faint thread connecting Nyx and Yvalia that gets a little brighter.
Nyx, Yvalia.
He shakes his head.
The tree is calling for you. It doesn't have very long.
I have an idea. Maybe? She kind of like reaches into her very haphazard bag of random things that she keeps on her. And pulls out like a strange small little pouch of like weird, strange sylvan like symbols all over it. And opening it up is just a little pouch of seeds that has like this weird floral and like sweet scent flowing out from it, as it is a pouch that smells back like her home. And it is basically a pouch of seeds that smells like her grove. So there's like constantly like this like fae vibe inside of it. But she is essentially like hoping that maybe if she puts something to help regrow the tree, or at least give it energy to hopefully help it get new growth, maybe she can help it. And it's going to like maybe see inside if there's somewhere that she can go to plant said seeds to help it.
Is anyone else doing anything?
How are there other guards here? Like what's going on in the peripheries of this tender moment?
The workers seem to have gone into a stasis, like standby, with the destruction of the vats, they currently can't work.
Yeah. So I guess seeing that, like, observing that, Rickett whispers to Vartash.
They look dormant. That's what I was trying to say.
I believe whatever we've done here has destabilized whatever keeps these mechanisms moving, but I don't know how much longer it will last.
Vartash has been kind of like absorbed in watching Nyx and Yvalia. And he kind of just shakes his head and looks at... I'm sorry, what?
The guards, they're not moving. Whatever we did to the harvesting mechanism must have disrupted their communication, their programming, their behavior. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how long that will last.
Yeah, we should probably leave soon, but I think they need to do whatever they're doing.
Vartash?
Yeah?
Could I ask a favor of you?
What is it?
I'm not sure if it's possible, but...
Oswin glances back up towards the tree. Presumably, at this point, Yvalia and Nyx have gone into the tree or something.
Yvalia, were you gonna follow Nyx into the tree?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes.
As they do that, Oswin will say,
This tree is no longer long for this world, and will soon pass out of Nyx's domain and into mine. But do you think it's possible that you might be able to find a seed from it before it's gone forever?
Maybe.
Jackson, what is that face?
Nothing. Just wait to see how things play out.
Honestly, yeah.
Marlo? Since everyone can read my mind, apparently.
Sure. I don't know. Vartash is going to climb the tree and search for like an acorn or something. Probably not going to find one.
It's a giant tree.
I know. Yeah. That's just what Vartash is doing. It's an empty gesture, probably, but...
Oswin tries the same. He has a negative, 3 to perception or something like that?
Don't worry, Rickett's there. He can cast Featherfall on you guys and totally catch you.
We're gonna...
Yeah.
The camera's gonna shift back as you two begin scouring this tree looking for acorns or seeds. As we follow Nyx and Yvalia, who step into this central room on the inside of the tree. And you see, lining the inside of it, are these dull crystals humming with this soft blue energy. Yvalia, you would recognize these from your glimpse behind the mask of the masked man who led you through the portal.
Oh.
That same glowing crystal.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was like the last thing, like described as you went past him. You saw like in the rush of the wind.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Under the mask was that crystal.
These types of crystals, they were behind the mask of that odd fellow back at the Covingdale estate.
Well, what does that mean? Were they taking them?
And you see that familiar mask that belonged to that cryptic figure is in the crystals.
Like it's just like sitting there?
It's encased in one of the crystals.
Oh,
encased.
okay.
That's the word.
Gotcha.
The mask is encased inside a crystal. As you see, or as both of you notice that the crystals that have been lining the inside of this tree are glowing less and less, more of them are going out, as it's now just the ones lining this room on the floor. And in the center of the room, you see the movement of gnarling branches forming up into what looks to be a bowl in the center. And you hear, both of you hear this very weak voice reverberating from the tree itself, you would assume, that says, "Child of the Grove, go forth and start a new journey with but the last of my life." And you see in this cup in the center a soft gold light begin forming.
Sees that and is just kind of like, but is there not another way to save you? I mean, can I not help in any other way?
There's no response as you see these crystals begin thrumming slower and slower, getting dimmer and dimmer.
I think she's like kind of step up to this bowl to see what the light has, but is unsure if she wants to reach out and take it yet, or if she's wanting to try and help in any other way yet. Not sure what to do.
When you step up to this bowl, you see there's a small golden seed producing that light.
Nyx, I know you have hope. This seed is the tree's hope.
There's that moment where she's just kind of like coming to terms in her head of what she's got to do before she gently picks up the seed and kind of like curls it up in her hands, and then just takes from like part of her dress, like a little bit of like that silk that she has, and just kind of wraps it up into a ball so that she can kind of protect it, pockets in a pouch.
And as you take that seed and secure it in your pouch, you see the last of these crystals slowly dim out as the room goes dark.
Yvalia goes to Nyx and pulls her into a hug.
I don't think she resists it all, but she finally is like past that point of like being able to hold herself together, and then falls into that hug and is just crying, not realizing anything else is around her anymore.
She like holds her close to her and sways a little back and forth and hums the song again. And then after a while of doing this and just kind of swaying, she rests her head on top of Nyx's and whispers,
We did what we could. You did what you could. This is the best choice for it. And we'll find who did this. already know.
End of episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Sins of the Father. Next episode will be released on September 12th. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Sins of the Pod. If you weren't aware, we have a Discord channel for the Misconceptions Podcast Network where you can chat about your favorite shows and anything else nerdy with all of the crew and other friends of the show. We also have a merch store where you can fulfill all your nerdy misconceptions, tales to inspire, and Sins of the Father needs. I'm also happy to announce that you don't have to worry about stock issues with our store anymore, as we have started a print-on-demand service. So all of your merch is just one click away. Keep checking the shop as we have some new designs and ideas planned to drop in the shop real soon. Just go to misconceptionspod.com to check out everything we have to offer. If you need to contact us, send us an email to misconceptionspod@gmail.com. Sins of the Father is only possible thanks to y'all, so we'd appreciate it if you would spread the word about our show if you enjoy it. If you're feeling especially generous, you can always donate to us through our Patreon page. However you decide to help out, we greatly appreciate you for it. Sins of the Father is an actual play podcast using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition role-playing game by Wizards of the Coast. The Sins of the Father theme was composed by Aaron Wharton. You can find more of his work at aaronwharton.net. Sins of the Father is a part of the Misconceptions Podcast Network. That about covers it for now, and as always, keep rolling crits.
We found the seed, guys. We found the Iron Tyrant's trove.
Found the seed.
Yeah, you found the seed.
We found the seed, finally.
Since everyone's like, oh, I need to find your seed.
Oh no.
It's like, shut up and just let me have my cool moment. That's what the face was, Marlo.
Yep.
I knew it. That's why I asked. I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
think
as
that's
soon
what
as you
Jackson
made the face, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I was like,
This time
Sorry.
the seed was an actual seed.
Everyone's just actually inside of my head. We're mind melding for
love it.
collaborative storytelling.
It really is. Like, that's just what
I
happens.
love it.
yeah.
I also am just loving the idea of like the two girls on the inside here getting a seed, crying, and the guys on the outside. Have you found a seed yet?
I
No.
was like, I think I found
try
one.
that
It
branch?
crumbles to dust. Oh.
Aw.
Oswin climbing up. Ah, Rickett! Featherfall.
Yeah. No, now we know.
Perfect.
I feel like that's what we're gonna have to open with next time. Is just remembering. Okay, guys, the outside. What are you guys doing there?
The outside. Oswin, roll an athletics check.
Oh, Thud.
Why do you keep making me roll dex?
Okay, roll wisdom.
No!
So welcome to the after party for the after party of the after party.
Yeah, sure.
That was intense. I loved it.
Actually, it's just the
Just the normal
It's just the
after
after
party.
party.
Well,
unless
Sins of the Father After Party After Dark Deluxe.
Not me turning into an actual druid and crying on a tree.
Only for patrons.
Crying in a tree.
Right.
Yes.
is this the most emotional episode of Sins of the Father that we've had so far? I don't mean to get like
this set.
a Bachelor commercial for it, but like this
Probably,
is the most
actually.
emotional season of The Bachelor. But was it the most
Pretty emotional.
emotional episode of Sins of Father?
The last two, for sure. I mean,
Definitely
I
the
think
most
these last
divisive.
two- This season?
yeah.
Yes.
This is what I wanted from season 2 was the true like character development.
I think
well, we're
this,
giving it to you.
That's right.
for this season, yes, it feels like the most like the last two have felt like the most because of like all the heated interactions going on as well as like the emotional interactions going on.
Yeah.
I think the start of it was just us enjoying it, but also like the characters are just getting to know each other, going through the motions. I think like the one scene obviously with like people dying on an elevator, obviously, yes, that's emotional, but like We don't
We
have
don't have
like
connection to those people,
Yeah.
really, though.
we don't have connection to those people to like go, oh yeah, I know this person personally
Yeah,
on
we're
like
not
a personal
invested.
level, or
Yeah.
the characters can feel bad, but they won't feel like, oh god, my best friend just was killed in
All
that,
of
or
our-
like, you know, like my father died.
All of our shows are
Something
getting
like
so
that.
heavy.
See, now you understand why the masked figure was being so cryptic.
Do we?
And also just like,
It wasn't just a normal dude.
It was a tree.
It was
I gotta say,
a part of the tree.
I'd
Wait,
like-
what was a part of the tree?
The masked guy.
He's just a part.
The
He's
masked
a chunk
guy
of the
was
tree.
part
yeah,
of the tree?
apparently.
Yes.
What? When was that decided? When did we discover
The
this?
stuff on
The
his
mask
face
was
and the mask, and then now the mask is in the tree with the same crystals.
It's very cryptic.
Yeah.
You gotta look
did
into
not
it,
get
David, instead of being on
I
your
was
phone.
wondering. I was wondering, so I was like,
Think,
wait, are
David,
they taking part of the
think.
tree, or are they part of this tree?
Oh, I did not get that.
They
I
were
thought
a
like it was
warlock
just
of
like
the
I thought
tree.
he like came through here and like put it there and was like, I was here. This is what I wanted.
No,
to
it was
find."
inside one of the crystals.
Oh my god.
That's what I was like. My first
Okay.
thing was, I was like, are they taking the crystals and like using part of like the tree's energy or something? And then I was like, when you said he's like, the mask is encased, I was like, wait, is
I
he
think the city
part
is
of it?
taking the power of the tree to power their robots.
Yeah.
I got it.
Now it
I
starts to
got
come
it.
together, doesn't it? The subtle little
the
hints
city's
and things.
evil. They're killing fey creatures to power their
Ho
robots.
ho ho! I told you this was going to be a
Oh
very.
god, I need to get out of the city, guys. I'm halfway.
I told you it
running.
was a very divisive season that was going to be a lot of
No,
moral
this is good.
Don't worry.
issues.
Don't worry, Nick.
Yeah.
They can only kill half of you.
Oh god. Holy half.
But would you rather lose the left half or the right half, or top or bottom?
Neither.
If you had to lose half
none.
of you,
I mean, obviously bottom, because if you lose half, like vertical half, or the top half, you cease to be alive.
This is true.
Occam, if you lose your bottom half, you would also die. This isn't Star Wars.
There
where
are people who've
Star
lost
Wars
the
thing.
bottom
where
part of their
hatred
body,
will literally
David.
just move you to
There are
live.
living people who have lost the bottom half of their body, David.
like
It's true, David.
like they're
Okay, I'm
like
like
from the
Yes.
waist down.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
from waist
Yes.
down.
Yes.
How do they get rid of their
They
waist?
have to. Huh?
I don't know.
Do they have Darth Maul's
How do
spider?
No.
they poo poo pee pee? That's what
They have their. I mean,
They
I don't
have
know particulars. I'm sure they're mostly like bound to mechanical devices to keep them alive. But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's definitely possible. I know it's possible.
I know a guy who lost his whole.
I don't.
I know a guy who knows.
I know
Well,
Darth Maul.
Wait, guys, we already know that we have a Warforged in our party. What are you talking
Valid.
about?
Valid.
I'll
Yeah,
just turn to one of
that was
those.
good.
I'll just turn
That
into
was
like
fun.
half
I liked it.
Warforged next.
No, that was good.
I did like I think my favorite thing is in the beginning of the fight, Yvalia being extremely angry and being like, God damn it, why are we in this fight? Dang you, Nyx. And then it being like that immediate seeing why she's here.
Yeah.
And it's switching gears immediately.
Like,
That
okay,
was really
yeah.
we'll
good.
destroy these
Yeah.
things.
No, that's true.
Mhm.
It was like, why are we doing this? We're gonna get ourselves killed. What does it even matter? And then it's like, oh, I'm seeing why it really matters.
And
now.
Yeah.
Rickett got a one shot on the giant thing.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, oh, that was good.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I have an immovable rod.
So good.
Oh my god.
My favorite
Shenanigans abound.
That's my favorite moment, is pulling an
I
immovable
was gonna-
rod out.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna climb up in there and like stick my wand in the spigot or whatever and cast like Agnesm Scorcher into
Ooh.
it to explode it,
Yeah.
but
Ooh.
the bolt was beautiful.
I was like, Rickett already trying to, because we made the joke about the Mind Palace pulling one thing out to break it. I was like, how could I make this? Ah, yes, someone's shoddy engineering patchwork job of just stick the immovable rod in there and it won't fall apart.
I'm just imagining Rickett waking up from a dream where he literally watched the construction of this device and is being like, that was weird. And then later that day just being like, oh.
This is what I pulled. Yeah. I really did blow my MVRP point and my last portent roll.
You did.
Hey, but
Now,
it
let's be
paid
fair,
off, didn't it?
I don't think he used the MVRP point, so I mean...
He used it, and then he switched it for his...
It's a
for
good
his
thing.
dash.
Hey,
First time
hey,
for a
and
Finally got used.
Yeah,
you know,
he finally
it was a
used
good moment. It was a good episode. Everyone got to do some neat things. There's lots of character building.
Honestly.
And hey, everyone leveled up.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, that's a hefty level, too.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it is.
sweet.
That's why I've been saving it.
More healing spells not to take.
Oh boy, I will deal with that later.
Yeah. So get
We're
ready
not
for
recording.
that because with a level up, you know what that means. The threats
Our
are
Vartash and
getting
Yvalia
bigger.
friends again.
Huh?
I don't know yet.
I said our Vartash and Yvalia friends
Vartash
again.
is
I
Yvalia's
need to
friend.
know.
Well, so notice what she did though, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. She made sure Vartash was okay. She looked Vartash over and then responded to Oswin. So she's still not talking to Vartash, but she
They're there.
cares still.
Yeah, it's there.
Which is fair.
Okay. I just need to know for my own well-being since we're going to record in a month.
Now, Marlo and I
has
hate
1
each other's
month to
guts, and if we
just-
ever have to work together again, David, you're gonna regret it.
Well, everything we record, y'all fight. So it's
I guess that's just their dynamic.
No, it is our dynamic. We're
I
we're
need to
just
write down that I have
we're just the married couple that's angry with each other.
the last hope
constantly.
of a golden seed of a fey tree.
It's true. Also, I want to point out that both Yvalia and Nyx heard the voice.
Ooh.
Just saying. Just saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
True that.
It's ambiguous who it was talking to,
True
but Nyx
dat.
is the one that steps up and takes the seed.
Fair.
And what Oswin saw.
And what Oswin saw.
Pretty good. I love that part. That's gonna be great. Well, shall we assign a MVRP point?
Sure. Sounds good.
David has to start it
Yeah.
since he had it last time.
True.
Yeah,
Oh,
David.
you're so right. I do.
You
Can't
can't give it to yourself.
Really hard.
It is hard.
I feel like everybody did really well, but I think Rickett did the best, so I think Rickett should get it. Just kidding.
It's valid. It would be the first time that's ever happened that a candidate voted for themselves, but it.
Hey, David, remember what I
David's
said
finally showed
earlier?
his true colors.
What?
Still on the table.
Don't, Dungeon Daddy, stop trying to kick me off that show. No, let's see. Gosh, everybody had really good moments this episode. But I think especially at the end, what clinched it for me was Nyx, and the very emotional through line from the end of the last episode to the beginning or the end of this episode. I think. Yeah, I think I'll give it to Nyx. That's who I will cast my vote for.
I'm gonna give it to Yvalia for being the spearhead of character and party discourse and resolve.
And in the same set of episodes. Pew pew.
Hey!
Honestly.
Well, yeah, because I'm tired of just repeating what other people say, David.
I said that.
I know. I'm just antagonizing David.
Okay.
Why? I'm picking out spells over here. Why are you shitting on me?
Because David. Curse of Straw.
Curse of Straw.
You know what, David?
Curse of Straw, David.
Oh my god.
I'll go next. I'm gonna give it to Yvalia as well for similar reasons. I really like that Marlo is willing to go there.
Anytime, any
Willing
day.
willing to antagonize her castmates consistently.
With their express permission, of course.
Well, of course, yes, yeah. We obviously talk about these things before they happen, if it's a possibility, so that we're not stepping on each other. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yes, never step on toes. Never look for seeds.
Yeah, never step on toes. Oswin, who stabbed the giant next toes.
I didn't step on them.
Wait a second. What is it with you and stabbing toes, Typo?
Thank you. Yes, I wasn't gonna say anything till now.
Listen,
Y'all have no idea what that's
a
about
foot fetish,
unless you
so...
listen to Side Quest. So listen to Side Quest.
You'll find out in Space Jammer.
Spelljammer.
I know.
I hate you.
I know it's called Spelljammer.
Welcome to the spell jam.
Anyways, I believe there are 2 people who still need to vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote for Nyx. Just throwing away. I love it. I love when characters are just like, I'm gonna throw everything I got at this, and I don't care if it's not gonna do nothing. I'm gonna do it. I love that.
I think it's a very just to comment on that. Yvalia had a similar moment in season 1.
Yeah, when thought she was trying to revive her father, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Parallels.
it was nice. Parallels.
I paid close attention in season 1.
Parallels.
Typo. Do you want to go, or did you already go?
I didn't
remember.
I am
I'll let you
completely
go.
torn between both Nyx and Yvalia. Both had really good scenes, so I'm going to give it to Vartash to not be a vote. What now?
Wow.
I can't choose, so I'll throw my vote away.
Ouch!
Okay, but see, if Vartash gets another vote, it's a 3-way tie.
Do it!
Wait, I have 2. Yvalia has 2. Then how am I supposed to?
That's funny, actually.
How do I? How do I choose? I go. Oh, hey. I either choose myself and be an asshole, or I choose Yvalia, who I want to choose because it's Yvalia.
Vartash? Hey. 3-way
Yeah,
tie?
I mean, he has a lot of good moments too.
Have we ever had a true tie?
Oh, God.
I don't think we have because we've always had an odd number.
Yeah.
Wait, you know what? I know what I can do.
What are you gonna do?
Yvalia has 2, right?
Yes.
And I have 2.
Yes.
Vartash has 1.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it over to Oswin for saving my life because he did a really good job, and he distracted the entire time, and I love him for that because honestly, main man over here, Oswin
got some good
taking the heat from Yvalia, having to deal with a bunch of stuff this entire episode, and then taking all of the fight the entire time running around.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that at the end there, knowing that his best friend was upset and visibly couldn't handle the situation, and when she went inside going above and beyond, going, hey, I'm gonna go and make sure we're just looking for something to help her. So, I think that there's some good reactions, and hey, that puts you guys on a tie over there, and us on a tie, and I don't have to break the tie.
So that just means Yvalia and Nyx both get half an MVRP point.
So you have 1 MVRP point.
To use.
One of you can use
to
it.
use between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
There you go.
So maybe between the 2 of us we'll remember
Hopefully.
to use
Yeah.
David's the only one who's
One of
ever
us
used one so far.
Yeah, right.
So
Along with his portent roll.
true.
He's blowing all his resources.
That's fair.
Maybe that's why he did it.
Yeah.
He has to keep track of his resources to change roles, so he remembers this.
Yeah.
That's fair, actually. All I have to keep track of
writing
is
it down,
bullets. And I don't
Nyx
have
and
to,
Yvalia
I
have an
choose
MVRP
to.
point together.
I can boost a strength check if I want.
Also, I just like it better this way because it symbolizes at the end the 2 coming together to help each other.
Yes.
I like it. It's cute.
Well,
It's Yvalia is the one who's lost all hope in all things. She's so disenfranchised and just she's come a long way and she's been through a lot, and that shows. And then Nyx, who's the baby, and she's like, no, baby, you did the right thing, baby.
No, baby, life sucks.
I love it. It's really cute. I'm excited.
Any,
I can't wait for next episode. Who's ready to record again?
any parting comments?
Parting comments. Guys, what do you think is
Anything?
going on between Yvalia and Nyx?
What's happening
Yeah.
here, listener?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Leave us a message on the Misconceptions Podcast Network Discord or in the comments on wherever you listen to this.
I think that Yvalia and Nyx are the same person from alternate timelines. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, while you're at
Totally
it,
true.
who are those two mysterious figures that were in the in-between?
Good question.
It's Yvalia
Don't
and
forget
Nyx.
they were there.
A brother and sister.
It was also Yvalia and Nyx.
Also Yvalia and Nyx from an alternate time.
It's Yvalia and Nyx from two different alternate timelines of the alternate timeline.
And one of them
Yes.
is a brother in that timeline.
And one of them
Bioshock
is
Infinite
a brother.
stuff going on.
True. Now,
That's gonna be the ending of like the Sins of the Father. Like the whole thing is like Yvalia and Nyx walking amongst bridges between lighthouses, and there's just other versions of themselves around.
Always a
And then one of
lighthouse.
them has to drown the other one.
Always a lighthouse.
God.
Always a sin.
Have you not played Bioshock Infinite?
No.
Well, there's a spoiler for you.
It gets really
Game
weird.
is wild.
It's good,
It's good.
but yeah, the ending.
It's pretty spicy.
Oh, look, you guys.
And
Alright.
other thing to leave you guys with, are Vartash and Rickett getting together yet? Come
my
on, I'm
God,
waiting for
stop.
this. My ship is waiting to sail. Nyx
I
is
will
over here
say-
waiting for this ship to sail.
Listen,
I will say that I gave the hand holding scene
I
just
hate
for people, but also because Rickett would hold his hand and help him through.
Fair enough.
Rickett is scared, baby
cute.
boy.
So
Vartash
cute, but
has
also I was
no
like,
romantic
my shipping heart is dying.
inclination at all. So,
See, totally fair, but also
Well,
to the shippers out there who understand my heart,
you
I'm
can
dying.
have that discussion on Discord or in the comments below.
indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Please, chat in our Discord.
Please be
Please
our, be
talk
our,
to us.
Be our friend.
We want you to
We
give
like
us
hearing-
ideas because we don't actually know where this story's going yet. I'm kidding.
We'll just
but
act like you
He said
guessed well.
they say we don't know, but really, what was meant is I don't know. where
No,
this story
I don't
is.
know. You've got ideas. I know you well enough.
I have no idea where we're going from here.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Well, you have a month to figure it out.
Exactly.
waiting
How do you
for-
think I figured out this story? I had a month to figure it out.
I'm just waiting for a giant eagle to come around and go bird noises.
Now. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay,
Maybe
let's
for
stop
the
recording
universe.
us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just stop that.
Okay, keep rolling crits.